Hi all, I decided to show you yet another game of the Chessable Masters from yesterday. It is the last round of that day, round 5 of Group A, featuring Pentala Harikrishna with the white pieces versus Alexander Grischuk with the black pieces. So far, Harikrishna he had a disastrous tournament. He lost the first 3 rounds, but he bounced back with a draw against Nakamura, where at one point he looked lost, but at the end he nearly snatched the victory also. On the other hand, we have Grishuk, who drew his first four games, and in round 3 he played against Magnus Carlsen, where he actually was in a winning position, but unfortunately for Grishuk he couldn't convert it. So both players are longing for their first win of the tournament. Um, this will be a 15-minute game with 10-second increment, uh, and look out for poison pawns in this one. So with that being said, let's get into the game. So Hare Krishna opens with e4. We have e5, knight to f3, knight to c6, bishop to c4, and bishop to c5. We have the Italian game is on the board. We have c3, knight to f6, and now you could go d4, but Hare, Hare Krishna opted for d3. We have d6, and now a4, trying to maybe play b5 and trying to trap the bishop on b6. So Grishuk preventing this with a5, preventing b4, and we have bishop to g5 now. h6, bishop to h4, and now g5. And now you can already see what Grishuk has in mind. He wants to attack, and he wants to attack on the king side. So we have bishop to g3, castles, knight b to d2, knight h5, eyeing that nice square on f4, h3, bishop to f6, queen to f6, queen to e2, and now king to h8. He's thinking, okay, I'm gonna bring my rook over here, look at this file, bring my knight over here, and if he takes, I'll take back with the g pawn, and I'm gonna enjoy a good game along the g file. Pentala, he played bishop to h2. We have knight to f4, and now bishop takes f4 and g takes f4. So carrying on with his plan, the g file is now starting to open up. So with a rook here, he could go into for a nice attack. But no, says Hare Krishna, and plays g4. So the question here is, can you just take this pawn? So let's check out this variation and play this. We have g takes, and now you need to bring your knight back, and maybe here castles, queen to g7, and both black and white is gonna have a good game. I mean, the position is equal. Uh, uh, Black can start thinking about start an attack here, or maybe not now, but maybe first this and then like this. And yeah, it's looking okay. But Grishuk didn't capture. Instead, he plays bishop to d7, and now suddenly it has shifted somewhat this position because now this pawn structure it looks kind of stuck, while white's pawns can actually now go on the attack. So yeah, it's starting to look a bit weird now for Grishuk. So we have a castles now and rook to g8, still trying to have this half open g file. Rook d to g1, preparing to maybe play g5, maybe push those pawns. Yeah, we have rook to g7, rook to g2, and rook to g8, and rook to g1. So we have a busy g file, and it's now Hare Krishna who's actually looking to attack, and Grishuk is on the defense. So bishop to a7, I don't really understand this move. Maybe it would have been better to get more pieces in by maybe playing knight to e7 or maybe knight to d8 to e6. But Grischuk plays bishop to a7 with knight to h2 and preparing to bring the other knight into the game. Knight to d8. You know, preparing maybe knight to e6, maybe knight to g5, and we have h4. And this is the moment where you have to think, can I take this pawn? Can I take it? So you have, if you don't take it, so let's say you play something like knight to e6, then white can actually now start pushing these pawns. Yeah, so we have takes, takes, knight takes, knight g4, and the position is okay. It is equal, but the king safety of white is a lot better than the king safety of black. Um, so uh, you don't have to take it, but in the game, Grischuk decides to take the pawn, and in fact, this is also the move recommended by the engine. So Harikrishna continues with his plan, plays the knight to f3, the queen retreats to e7, and now g5. And Harikrishna wants to open up the files and get his attack in. Unfortunately, this just instantly blunders, and I wonder if you can see what Grischuk should have played um, in order to gain an advantage here. So congratulations if you spotted it. It's actually bishop to h3, and yes, it traps the rook. It cannot go. So you have to give it up. Let's say to g4, takes, takes, and takes, and actually it is black now who has a commanding position here, threatening to win the queen and also threatening to win the piece here. So let's say you have to move the king, you get h5, and then it's just all over. You can take the rook, and if knight's here, the king can actually escape. So that would have been the best continuation. Um, however, Grishuk didn't find bishop to h3 and played knight to e6, which is planned to maybe capture here. But unfortunately, this instantly loses the game. So again, a couple of seconds, white to play for a winning advantage. Did you see it? It's knight to g4. So what does this do? So let's just check out some variations here. The threat is, of course, this pawn is under attack. The threat is also the knight going here, and with all sort of shenanigans happening on the h file maybe. So this pawn has to go. So Grishuk takes the pawn, but now Harikrishna plays knight to h6, and what happens if let's say you move the rook? What will happen? Let's go to maybe go to e8. Um, well, there are multiple options. The knight can go here. We can take this pawn. Um, black's whole position will actually fall apart here. So it is yeah. There's not much you can do. Black is just getting destroyed. So um, with knight a6, you cannot move the rook. So instead, Grishuk he played rook to h7, just defending on this h file. And now we have takes and takes on g8. So Harikrishna is now the exchange up. And knight takes g5. And now, actually, Grischuk plays f3, and we have queen to takes f3, and it was in this position that Alexander Grischuk resigned the game. Um, Basically, there's just nothing you can do here. You are, you have this nasty discovery going on, so you have to defend it. So let's say we're going to defend it by rook to g8. Then you'll get knight takes e6, pawn takes e6, queen h3, and the computer suggests uh, takes an f2, but this is just prolonging the inevitable. Um, Bishop e6 check, bishop e6, takes on takes and takes, king to h8, rook to h1, and now you have to defend like this. We have queen to e8, and now it's just going to get checkmated quite quickly. Rook to h7, and whatever you do, you get checkmated in the next move. So, um, yeah, so that was the game, the final position. Um, a great game. Uh, Grishuk had the idea of attacking on the king side, and the pawns, they didn't look that dangerous until they were. And it was a great game where Harikrishna basically just flipped the table and says, "Wait a minute, I'm attacking on the king side. You're not." And well, he played a magnificent game and deserved this victory. So a great end for the day for Krishna, um, and a lot more work to do for Grishuk in the coming days. So I hope you liked the video. Thank you for watching. Like, comment, subscribe if you will, and I'll see you in the next one.